Austin. How you guys doing tonight? Looking lovely out there. Looking lovely out there. Again, I'm Roz. This is the world famous Justin Young, just coming off of a tour for this particular event. You in Palm Springs, just getting in Palm Springs for birthday, right?
That's good.
You're on tour out there, so check out Justin Young on Spotify. The guy is brilliant. But we're going to excerpt from my book, Netter. I try to bring back mythology. You know, we got superheroes, but we don't really have like real mythology, contemporary mythology, where you can learn the lessons of how you can become a hero, like Perseus and Hercules, right? It's just you're watching Tony Stark do his thing. But I wanted to bring back that tradition of heroic poems that taught us how to become more heroic. You know, like Odysseus, and more clever like Odysseus, or, you know, more courageous like Hercules. So we'll do an excerpt from the book Netter. You can find it on my website, rastari.com, rastari.com. To set up this excerpt, basically what happens is the son of the sun is born to stop the evil king of the underworld. In the meantime, while he's grown up, though, he travels the world with three wise magi kings. And they basically go from kingdom to kingdom, stopping like evil witches and the evil kings, and whoever they run across. You know, if there's some bad guys happening, they're going to stop it. You know, so they're traveling to this kingdom where the king has strung up his brother. He stole the kingdom from his own brother, and now he hung up his brother every day from a bridge, like the hanged man, till the brother tells him the secret of alchemy, how to turn things into gold. He thinks his brother can teach him how to make things gold. So he's doing this devilish thing every day, and he stole his kingdom. So the three kings and priests that come in, and they're going to deal with that. Thank you. The royal estate began on the riverbank and spread up the mountain to the capital city, near the homes of the most wealthy. We could see hundreds of imported swans and two giant swans that were 10 times the size of normal birds and just as healthy. Those two birds, Fushi and Nawa, were the children of the legendary beast Vivaswan, a mammoth swan who infamously ate dragons. The giant swan swam near the bank, near King Devo and his entourage, who were all dressed in white and being fed cheese from a wagon. Devo had 12 lovers and concubines, and they were all sadomasochists that inflicted pain onto Devo in his pleasure arenas. They surrounded him, playing lyres and harps, ruthlessly petting their pet rabbits, and gossiping incessantly as if a den of hyenas. As they all ate from crystal utensils and silver platters, we could see beautiful Parvati dancing before them just at the river's edge. Then we walked past 6 officers standing in the middle of the bridge where Deva was hanging from the bridge's ledge. As we passed him, I could feel Deva's aura, and it reminded me of the warm presence of Zeus Al-Razi in the treehouse in the west. This was the presence of one who had surrendered their ego, baptized their heart, and was living in joy and bliss, not fear or stress. The officer chaperoning us had to give his best performance to the king's guards, but he finally managed to get our audience with the king. When at last we stood before King Devo on the riverbank, with Parvati dancing and Deva hanging, the scene was like a waking dream. Along with Devo's concubines and servants and swans, hundreds of Iset's sinister imperial eunuch soldiers were also at the river. Devo was told that we were messengers of a new ally to Iset, that we were bearing gifts, and we had a golden message to deliver. While Saravati was putting Kimi in Deva's food, she had been putting lead in the food of Devo, his entourage, and his soldiers. The symptoms were clear to see on them, as they are all thin, agitated, and irritated, and some incessantly grinded their molars. King Devo said, "Since you are interrupting my sunset performance, your surprise gifts and message had better be good. Now tell me quickly and be on your way. Where are my gifts? Who is your king? And what message does he want so understood?" King Beastar said, "Thank you for having we, the HNIC, in your castle. And may I say that this is a splendid kingdom you have inherited. But I could not help notice that man hanging there from the bridge. And we first want to know what he did to merit this. King Devo saith, that man is an enemy of the state, and he hangs above these waters until he confesses the details of an important formula, until he reveals the secret to transmuting gold. He shall hang out there during sunset, so he can search his memory and mental nebula. And then I said, but sire, surely there is more. For we were told that that hanging man is your brother and the former king. This agitated Devo, and he saith, yes, my brother and the former king and my enemy. And I would not joke about such a thing. Who exactly are you, ancient Nicene? What are my gifts? Be wise with your next words, or they shall no longer be without repercussion. Zorisar saith, we came to deliver you a message, but our gift is only for a true king. So our business ends with this discussion. King Devo was dumbfounded with rage and said, are you mad enough to come to my castle and call me anything less than a king? Guards, come string these fools up by their necks next to the one hanging on that bridge and make sure they swing. As the platoon of savage Enoch started at us, Krishna said, if what you seek is the dance of Priestopia, I can show you the way. Devo halted the soldiers and said, so you decide to finally reveal your secret and message, as well as make my lucky day. Krishna removed his outer robe, then silenced his mind, so that he could feel the vibrations of his aura and hear the beat of his heart. Krishna remembered Deva's dance for him, and he remembered when in his youth he would joyfully and endlessly spin as a lark. As Krishna began to dance his mythical Rasayana, the sky was a kaleidoscope of luminous and beautiful pastel colors as the sun neared Nadir. Krishna's swirling and graceful dance was as powerful as the clang of a hanging drum, yet as gentle and graceful as a falling tear. As we watched Krishna dance and swirl serenely to the sounds of the lyre, Deva intuited that this was the day that he would be freed. Deva had long since learned to listen to the intuitions of his aura, and something had begun to tell him that he was going to be saved by a starseed. The vibrations and emanations of Krishna's Rasayana rang loudly in his heart, and Deva gave thanks to the Almighty for his freedom. These vibrations also created powerful sound waves beneath Krishna and awoke a dragon living underground named Shesha Hydragrarium. Shisha was curled 3.5 times in slumber in its warm hole, but the Rasayana made Shisha rise and find a new resting place. Shisha moved in a frenzy upstream, trying to escape the booming sound, but it quickly found itself trapped in a small and tiny space. The tiny cave was red and cinnabar and decorated by green bioluminescent bacteria and shimmering jade and emerald crystals. Shisha still felt the intense vibrations of the Rasayana as if explosions, so it began to burn its way out of the cave by blasting out a fiery missile. Shisha the dragon roasted the red wall until the Zusha and cinnabar began to produce hot liquid mercury, which began gushing from the wall as a stream. The Zusha rock did not turn into mercury, soon became glowing hot magma, and it burned through the wall and made a seam. The magma cut through rock and stone until it poured out from the riverbank and into the river and boiled the water and the mercury. Shisha's dragon breath did not relent, and the steam of mercurial magma poured endlessly into the river like blood streaming from an artery. As Krishna gracefully danced, swirling his arms rhythmically and spinning in circles, steam began to rise from the now hot flowing stream. Whilst we kings were attuned to the emanation of Krishna's heart, its strength caused the entourage of Devo to begin hallucinating. In their vision, the water began to sparkle and gleam until it seemed like it was filled with gold leaf. And finally, even the land was gold. Devo's lucky day had come, for he had finally met his expectation and witnessed what he knew to be the secret to wealth and riches untold. When Krishna ended his Rasayana, Deva ran to him with tears in his eyes and fell at Krishna's feet. And he begged for the secret. Krishna told Deva that only those with baptized hearts could learn, and that he needed to sodden his leaden heart and unsheath it. King Devo understood what he wanted to, and he promised priesthood to bathe in the river until his heart was pure, and he was no longer king. As the last swan left the boiling water, Devo headed in, and he ordered all of his entourage to bathe so that at least one of them may learn the golden swing. As the raven of Jehudi landed next to Deborah on the bridge's ledge, they watched as the soldiers and entourage dashed into the boiling water. They had all become completely anesthetized from the lead and the Rasayana, and they never noticed as the spring grew hotter and hotter. They continued to bathe and baptize themselves after the sunset, as more and more of the castle servants came to the banks to observe. Steam soon obscured all views, and only in the morning did we find that they had all evaporated and faded away and gotten what they deserved. We kings soon bid that kingdom farewell, for we intuited that Isaac would come searching for us, and we wanted to spare innocent lives. The manna-carrying hot springs still exist to this day,